Retail arbitrage used to be a beginner business model on Amazon, and it just isn't it anymore. In the past few weeks, I've been doing a little retail arbitrage. I've told you guys in previous videos, and I've also been working with a lot of beginners throughout the years, right? And I can tell you right now, retail arbitrage has changed a lot. Back in the days, you were able to actually go in stores like Ross, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, all these stores, right, all these clearance stores, I should say, and just brute force your way into getting a retail arbitrage business, doing anywhere between $30,000 to $50,000 a month. It was really, really easy. You were just going into stores, scanning a lot of products, and then a lot of products were not going to be ungated or would be opened for you, right? But the issue with this right now is that as a beginner, it's a little bit hard to do right now because you're going to be gated in a lot of stuff and you're not going to be able to sell a lot of these products that you are going to come across, right? So in this video, what I'm going to actually tell you is what you should do instead of just brute forcing your way into retail arbitrage as a beginner, right, to grow your business. And I'm going to also tell you, if you're a little bit, more advanced as a seller, why it's actually a great news for you. If you do not know me, my name is Chris Mangunza. I release videos here every other day, sometimes daily, sometimes not. My schedule has changed, okay? To help you with your Amazon business. So if you're new, just like and subscribe to all that YouTube stuff, right? And so that way you can catch up with all my videos and actually scale your Amazon business. If you also need Amazon coaching, okay, I have a mentorship program. If you want to start or scale, link in the description. Let's hop on a call and let's get you started, or let's get you to scale your business, okay? Now, the reason why I said what I said regarding retail arbitrage is that it's pretty much how I actually got started myself in my business. I was just going to Ross all around Miami, scanning a lot of products and sending them FBA, right? As I said, the issue with that is that back then, it was really easy to get ungated in Nike, Puma, Adidas, Under Armour. Nike is done, okay? You still have some products that you can find from Nike, but it's mainly done, okay? It was kind of the case with Under Armour. So if you are an older seller and you used to do a lot of retail arbitrage, you know how it was with Under Armour, right? Amazon was sending some of the products. Some of the best Under Armour products were restricted, right? You were not able to sell them. It's pretty much what's going on with Nike right now, right? So the socks, just catch up with the last few videos that I actually posted, right? Now, because of that, and I've tried myself with a new account, right? I went into these stores, I started scanning product to see what I was able to sell. And, even in the toy category, where the toy category is open for everyone, now there's just a few brands that are gated. I mean, most of the best brands, right? The amount of products that you find doing this is not overwhelming. Let's just put it this way. And so, back then, retail arbitrage was really the easiest way to get started. It's not anymore. And now you need to be a little bit more sophisticated, right? You can still do retail arbitrage, but you need to be a little bit more sophisticated if you actually want to, just get started with this, right? And so the way to go about it is, if you really want to get started this way, it's more of an hybrid approach where you're going to go to specific stores that are going to be ungated that have their private label brands, right? So one famous example, one really good example is Trader Joe's, right? So Trader Joe's is one of these, brands where if you get engaged, you just go into a Trader Joe's store and there's a ton of products that you can find. You just research them first, right? And then you go in store knowing what you need to grab and you just replan this way, okay? By the way, I used to teach that whole method, right? Back before it was actually a thing, right? Before it was actually what you needed to do. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you just focus on brute forcing your way, it's just not going to cut it, right? So you need to come up with a plan, just like the Trader Joe's thing, right? You need to come up with a plan if you actually want to be successful with this, okay? You cannot wing it like you used to be able to do before. Now, the good news, if you're a little bit more advanced, is that kind of brute force way of doing retail arbitrage is going to be really, really good for you if you are a more advanced seller and you are already opened in a lot of categories and you have more capital to deploy. Because the way to go about it, if you want to do retail arbitrage today, the way to go about it at Rust and stuff is you're just going to go to one store, scan a lot of products, you're going to find the opportunities that you can sell that other people cannot sell. Okay, for example, I'll give you a few. Nerf, right? Nerf, you need 200 units to actually ungate it. So most people are not going to send the 200 units. If you are ungated, if you were ungated in the past, right? Because it's going to be a little bit expensive, right? Count at least $500 if you can find a really cheap product. But it's going to be more likely that it's more expensive than that to get ungated, right? So Nerf. Hot Wheels. If you can sell Hot Wheels, new accounts are restricted in Hot Wheels. So if you find Hot Wheels deal, just know that beginners and it's just going to be advanced sellers that can jump on these. Same thing with Barbie. There are Legos. If you can sell Legos, you are golden. Let's just put it this way. You are golden because it's such an easy brand to make money on today, especially I cannot sell Legos on none of the account that I have access to. I cannot sell Legos. So there are so many opportunities that I come across, whether it is retail or online arbitrage. And talking about that, it's really important that as a seller, you stay in touch with what's going on and what people can sell and what people cannot sell. Because that cross section in between what people cannot sell and what you can sell, there's going to be something in the middle, some brands that you are going to be able to sell that most people cannot sell. That's where the money is for you, whether it is with online, retail, or wholesale. That's where the money is going to come from, okay, for you. Now, one of the good things, as if you are a seller doing a lot of retail arbitrage, because this is it seems like it's the way Amazon is operating right now, right? So the way they do things is, when you have a lot of these brands coming, these new brands. So let's take an example, right? So if you are in the toy category, you know the brand Zuru, which is an Hong Kong-based brand that used to sell just random Nerf-style guns, right? That were not really showing up on Amazon back then, but now they have a whole lot of products. They're getting a lot of license. With, for example, SpongeBob, with so many US brands, they're getting so much license that they have a lot of products, right? And a lot of sub brands that are doing amazing, right? For example, I'll just give you guys one, the mini series, with all the mini, the capsules and all that stuff that are doing amazing right now. They're really doing amazing. And so the great thing is that if you were doing retail arbitrage and you've been selling a whole lot of different products, which is probably not the case if you were doing online or wholesale, because you may be going deeper and stuff, right? If you are doing retail arbitrage and you catch up these new brands and you start selling them early, whenever they start gating the brand and making it hard and restricting it, if you sold it in the past, you're going to be in the clear, right? So that's kind of what happened with me with Barbie, right, and Hot Wheels. I've been selling these items for a while, and so when people got restricted, I was still able to sell, right? I've never really sold Lego, so that's why it got restricted for me. Now, one thing that I've noticed is that my students who are still doing heavy retail arbitrage can sell way more brands than I can, even if they have less sales than me, right? Because they were selling a whole lot of different brands. They were selling these brands, right? Like the brands from Zuru, and they can still sell them today, right? So that's one of the advantages that you're going to get if you do a lot of retail arbitrage, or if you do online but you go super wide, but you tend to not find those opportunities if you do online arbitrage, if you stick to just one brand, right? So that's why, retail arbitrage is not going to be that great for you if you're just starting and you're just trying to brute force your way. It's not a strategy that works, right? You need a plan. You need to know exactly what you go for, because most of these brands are going to be gated for you as you start. And you need to get a little bit of sales to actually grow and be able to sell more stuff, right? Ungating a lot of brands is not really doable like it was before, when you just needed 10 units. Now, a lot of the brands that are actually making money are going to ask you for at least 200 units, right? So yeah, that's pretty much where things stands right now with retail, online, and all that stuff. Hopefully this video was helpful, and hopefully it inspired you to actually come prepared when you actually do some retail, right? And hopefully it helps you make a little bit more money and understand all these things a little bit better, right? Once again, if you need my help to actually scale your business, link in the description, and I'll see you in the next